Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. This is BRN AM for Friday, July 26th, 2024. At our top story today, a majority of back-to-class shoppers have already begun purchasing school items. And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Katherine Cullen is with the National Retail Federation. Katherine, sure great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
It's great to be on. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, this is great. And I love that we're talking about back to school. Hey, it's been a while since I've been back to school. And I was telling you, I was thinking about the Grease 2 movie, which had that theme song at the beginning. Anyway, I guess my first question is, here we are at the middle to end of July. Are parents, guardians, students, teachers thinking about back to school shopping?
Well, I can tell you as a parent, I might have started thinking about back to school the moment that school got out. I think there are some parents that are certainly eager for their kids to get back into that schedule. But we know that school districts across the country, they have different start dates, right? So parents and teachers, they certainly start their shopping at different points. But we have seen this trend in recent years where shopping is starting a little earlier. So about a little over half of back to school and college shoppers say that they'd already started picking up items by early July. Most of those were still waiting on their school lists. But we expect when we see July sales released in a couple of weeks, we expect we will start to see the impact of some of that shopping in the July sales results.
And why, any idea as to why people are starting sooner? Is it just that, and I think my mom and dad probably could relate. They wanted to get us out of school, out of camp and back into school so we weren't causing tumult. But in all seriousness, is it trying to find the best deals possible on pencil cases and backpacks and all the other things you need?
This is a trend we've actually seen, for context for listeners. NRF tracks spending on pretty much every major consumer holiday or spending event that you can imagine, including the biggest ones like back to school and the winter holidays. But this is really a trend that we have started to see, that for some of these big spending events, consumers do really like to get a head start on their shopping. And a lot of that has to do with spreading out their budget. Remember, for back to school, the average K through 12 household is planning on spending around $875 on average. It's a lot of money. Second highest we've seen in our survey's history. Families obviously want to make sure their students are set up for success, but they also want to make sure they're spreading that out over multiple paychecks and that they're taking advantage of sales and deals. So starting early gives them a chance to do some research, find what they need, but also start tracking sales and deals, many of which are just happen in July or extending, through July, and will pick back up in early August, to make sure that they're finding the best value and making every dollar count.
And when you look at this, I'm going to call it a basket. I'm not an economist, but I'm going to call it a basket of goods. And when I think of the basket, I think of the trapper keeper. I don't even know if that's still a thing. But where you keep your notes and things, your tablet probably. Does it also include clothes, what you wear, your shirts, your pencil cases, your rulers? I mean, is that what people are buying?
All of the above. You pretty much covered it. So for back to school, we really look at clothing, shoes as a separate category, and shoes has been a growing category. Electronics, which a while ago was, when I was growing up, it was those calculators. Now electronics are more things like tablets and laptops. And then school supplies, your backpacks, lunch boxes, pens and papers. For college, it's a little different. College students have a lot more needs. They need things like dorm furnishings, those extra long sheets we all might remember, monogrammed or school colors, sweatshirts. They also need things like food to stock those late night study sessions, health and beauty supplies to keep them, going throughout the semester. And as a result, we see back to college spending is much greater than back to school spending. The average college shopper or their family is expecting to spend about $1,365 on average. Wow. So significantly more because they just have more to buy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about when you said late night, I was thinking about diner runs and ramen noodles. Those were the staple when I was a long time ago when I was in college. Um, last question before we go to a commercial break. You mentioned waiting on some lists from schools. Are schools in a position to help with back to school? Like, for example, do they provide a basket of goods that instead of the parent having to shop and pick up the pencil case or pick up the I don't know, the binder. Are schools stepping in? Maybe they have economies of scale. They can help students and their families.
I love this question. It really varies by school or school district, but we're seeing a lot of innovation in this space. Consumers can often, depending on their teacher or school, but they might be able to actually go and shop their own teacher's back to school list through a major retailer so they know exactly the right products to need versus trying to guess between all the different pencil options and crayon options. And for others, some schools do pool resources and allow you to kind of contribute to a bulk purchase. It's called kind of buying a box. And that's something that we've heard that some school districts are participating in. It's not necessarily widespread. We also know schools are organizing things like supply swaps or uniform swaps if it's a school that requires a uniform as that gets closer, because they know, as a parent, I know this, kids grow very quickly. And even if you think you've guessed all the sizes that you need, what you picked up in July or August, you might be thinking, man, I'm going to need something new by in just a couple of months. So schools are also helping with that. And then, of course, there are those tax-free days that states offer. So those are a little separate from what schools are doing, but certainly another way that families can save on some of the key essentials that they need.
Yeah, really important. And I can relate to the growth. When you're younger, you just can grow like a weed. I never grew past, by the way, 5'7", 5'8". I'm still hoping for that growth spurt at age 50. Katherine, I want to take a very quick break. When we come back, I want to pick up the conversation, talk about how our retailers are doing. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device. Katherine, thanks so much for sticking with us. Really appreciate you hanging around for segment number 2 this morning.
Thanks so much. I'm enjoying this conversation so far. It's always a fun topic to talk about back to school because we all, either are participating in the holiday or remember our back to school and college shopping days.
Absolutely. I remember those days fondly. I wish in some ways I could go backwards, although I'm happy in my life today. Anyway, let's talk about how retailers are doing because look, it has been a tough stretch economically. So whether you're one of the big box stores or even a small business, how are our retailers doing and where are people choosing to buy? Is it online? Is it brick and mortar? Is it all of the above?
We are continuing to see strength in the retail sector. It's an interesting position because if we just compared a couple of years ago, there was really astronomical growth in retail sales during kind of pandemic and the years coming out of the pandemic because people had built up all of these savings. The economy got an infusion of cash from this various stimulus programs, and we had record low interest rates. Obviously, the situation has changed. Consumers have adapted, and really spending has normalized back to pre-pandemic levels of growth. But we are still seeing that continued growth overall. NRF is forecasting that retail sales will grow somewhere between 2.5% and 3.5% this year. And we are seeing that, in the recent numbers that we're certainly on track to meet that. Certainly, though, consumers have a different mindset, which is more value oriented, and retailers are responding to that. I can go in more detail too to talk about different channels and kind of where people are choosing to put their dollars for the back to school season, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, let's talk about, Amazon comes to mind. There are lots of other online retailers. How is that? It's tough to buy clothes online, though. Let me tell you, when you try to buy a pair of jeans and you can't decide if you're a 31 or a 32 or if you're a 38 waist size, I think it can be hard to do that. But where are consumers choosing to buy their goods?
We're really seeing that today's consumer likes to shop across channels, depending on what's convenient for them and what's available at the moment. Back to school and back to college shopping does have a bit of a traditional aspect. People do like, particularly for certain purchases, like a backpack or a lunchbox or a pair of jeans or sneakers. They want to involve their child. So seeing that item in person, touching and feeling it, trying it on, is often part of that experience and part of that tradition. As much as kids might love screens, picking out clothing online might not be the same as heading to a store. So there certainly is that component, but we know consumers will be shopping across channels. And many retailers today are operating across both channels, as we know. So online, certainly one of the top destinations, but we are seeing growth in department stores as a destination, as well as in discount stores. Again, this plays into the idea that consumers today are looking for value, as well as the idea that discount stores have really expanded their offerings. They're carrying a broad variety of items, including many that can be used for the back to school season, like some of those core school supply items.
My grandparents, Catherine, from the Depression era, they used to clip coupons, and my cousins were relentless in making fun of them. Again, I'm going back to like the 70s and 80s. And, hindsight being 2020, I appreciate now looking for the best deal possible. Are consumers clipping coupons? Are they looking for the Amazon Prime days or the other sales days and you mentioned managing the budget. And so are retailers responding with, hey, we're going to have a special day where you can buy notebooks, where you can buy your jeans or your backpacks?
It's certainly, and it's important to remember too that July used to be kind of a slow day or slow month for retail, and that has really changed. If we look at the calendar now for retail sales in July, it is crowded. Barely a day or week goes by where there's not a retailer, whether it's health and beauty, furnishings, an online player like an Amazon or Walmart or Target offering some sort of special deals. And we know again that this has become important for consumers looking for value. Our latest study found that about 85% of consumers were planning to participate in the Prime Day week or Prime Day sale days in some way, shape, or form, whether that was shopping specifically at Amazon or at other retailers during that time. Consumers aren't just going one place for deals. They're price comparing. They're looking at who else is out there offering something similar. They're reading reviews. They're very, very smart. Not they, we are all consumers, but consumers know how to use the information that's available to them. And they're also shopping, using loyalty programs. Clipping coupons might look a little different these days, but those programs are still out there for consumers trying to save money.
Yeah, and there are actually apps that do compares for consumers, and I guess the app manufacturers probably get a cut of something at some point. Last question, Catherine. I don't know if it's too early, but I want to ask you, when are we going to start talking about holiday shopping? Because in my mind, I remember last year we were talking around Halloween. So when is the National Retail Federation going to be releasing holiday numbers?
So, holiday, the conversation starts earlier every year, to your point.
It does.
We know consumers like to start shopping earlier. But core shopping still really does occur in the last couple months of the year. So our coverage does tend to start in October. That's when consumers, even if sales start early, even if they start browsing, consumers, from what we've seen, really hold off on that buying until the October months. We also don't know yet with the election cycle how that's going to impact when consumers decide to start shopping, because their minds might be a little preoccupied with what's going on in the news. So there's still some unknowns out there, but stay tuned for October. We'll start releasing our content then.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll hopefully we'll be able to have you back. We can talk about that, although maybe that's a few months away. Katherine, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And look, we look forward to having you back again very soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news in lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content, then visit our website. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN Weekly. Jane King will be here from the NASDAQ to help break down markets, and then we'll take a look back at some of our best segments for the week. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving. Don't forget, roll with the changes.